Hey there. Ever found yourself trying to talk about, the very last bit of a movie or a party or even just the end of a really long week? Well, today we're going to master a super simple, natural sounding idiom that's perfect for that: tail end. And trust me, once you get this one, you're going to start noticing it all over the place. So, really, think about it for a second. Let's say you're trying to explain that you showed up just as a party was kind of winding down. You could say you're nearing the end, and yeah, that's totally correct. But there's a much more common phrase that native speakers use all the time, and that's exactly what we're going to dig into today. All right, so let's break this down. What does tail end actually mean? I mean, the word tail itself kind of gives you a pretty big clue, right? It's actually super simple. Tail end just means the very last part of something. Think of it as that final stage. Whether we're talking about the tail end of a super long meeting, the tail end of summer vacation, or maybe the tail end of a huge project at work. It's basically the final chapter. But here's the thing. It's not just about the absolute final second. It's more about the feeling of being in that last stretch. When you say tail end, you're really telling someone that, hey, the finish line is just up ahead. The main event is pretty much over, and we're just in those last few moments of getting things wrapped up. And hey, for our Indonesian speakers, here's a really cool connection. The English phrase tail end is super, super close to your phrase menjelang akhir. So here's the key takeaway for you. Anytime you find yourself in a spot where you'd normally say menjelang akhir, just try swapping in tail end. I'm telling you, it's going to fit almost perfectly. Okay, so theory is one thing, right? But let's actually see how this phrase works out in the real world. I've got a couple of examples here that'll make it crystal clear. So here's a classic one. Just imagine you're rushing to the movie theater. You finally get there, only to walk in just as the credits are about to start rolling. Ugh. You'd say, "We arrived at the tail end of the movie." It just perfectly captures that feeling of just missing out on the main event. And in Indonesian, that translates really nicely to "Kami tiba di bagian akhir film itu." It basically means you missed the entire story and just walked in for the last few scenes while everything was getting wrapped up. Okay, how about a work example? This is one you'll hear all the time. He started working at the company at the tail end of their big project. Yeah, this is a really common way to talk about when someone joined a team or a company. And again, the Indonesian translation is just as clear. Dia mulai bekerja di perusahaan itu pada bagian akhir dari proyek besar mereka. It kind of implies he missed all the tough stuff at the beginning and that long middle part and just joined in time for the final report. And maybe the launch party. Lucky him. All right, let's do a quick recap. If you only remember a few things from this, make it these key points. This will really help the idiom stick in your mind. So, to put it all together, use tail end for the last little bit of anything that has a beginning, middle, and end, like a project, a season, even a conversation. Remember, it's not just about the absolute end, it's about that feeling that things are almost complete. And seriously, because it's so common in daily English, using this will instantly make your speech sound way more natural. And that brings us to a final question for you. Now that you've got tail end in your vocabulary toolkit, where are you going to hear it or use it next? Maybe you'll catch the tail end of a big sale, or you'll tell a friend you'll call them at the tail end of the day. I want you to listen for it this week. I promise you're going to hear it. So keep your ears open. And that's it. That's a wrap on the idiom tail end. I really hope this quick explainer was helpful for you. Thanks so much for watching.
Thank you for watching this video. Hopefully useful. Don't forget to like and subscribe.